Autoimmune rehab is for you if you think you have an autoimmune condition, know you have one and are struggling, or just want to listen and learn all you can about how to heal from autoimmune conditions. If you ever asked yourself any of these questions, why won't medications heal my autoimmune condition? I've already given up gluten and dairy, but I still feel sick. My doctor said my labs are normal, but I still feel sick and tired a lot. Can you really heal from an autoimmune condition? What does it really take to thrive with autoimmune conditions? What role does stress play in autoimmune conditions? What really is the best diet for autoimmune? This is Anna Laura Brown, host of the Autoimmune Rehab. I started this podcast because I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's in 2018 and wanted to inspire hope and transform health for people with autoimmune challenges. So keep listening and let's get you the help and hope you really need. Okay, and for today's episode, we're going to have another short bonus episode where I'm going to be talking with you about the topic of coping with autoimmune flare-ups, my top strategies revealed on how I do that. So let's get started here because this is a common thing that comes up, especially with a lot of us. Once you start to get your autoimmune condition under control, maybe you even end up in full remission, but yet every once in a while you still end up with a flare-up. So what do you do to cope with those flare-ups, to get them under control, to have them last, maybe only a day or two instead of several weeks, several months, that kind of thing? So the first thing is self-care. And this is something that we should all be doing on a regular basis. Even people who don't have an autoimmune condition should be doing it, but yet a lot of us fail to do it. So you really want to focus on self-care, whatever that means to you, however it works best for you. And if you need some help with this, I have a 30-day self-care journal that can help assist with that, with some different ideas, ways for you to track your self-care. The link will be in the comments, but it's basically at annalaura.brown/self-care. You can go there and grab that and just, focus on your self-care. Then the next strategy is just to rest. Now, this can be hard for some of us, especially if you have families, jobs, obligations, things like that. But if you're having a severe enough flare, you really may want to just take a sick day and just rest all day long for one day and see what that does. See if that helps give you some relief, helps the flare symptoms stop, that kind of thing. The next thing I always like to do when I'm having a flare is to evaluate my diet in the last few days and ask myself, am I sure I didn't get any gluten? Did I, eat a bunch of dairy when I know I shouldn't have? Did I eat a bunch of sugar? Was I eating out a lot? Was I traveling and, not eating a lot of home cooking, different things like that? Because I find that a lot of times, most of my flare-ups are connected to having eaten one or more things that I really shouldn't have had. So that's something else to keep in mind. And if you're at the phase with your autoimmune healing journey where you're still getting a lot of flare-ups, you may need to be keeping a food journal and keeping track of everything that's going in your mouth and taking note of what symptoms are connected to different things. The next thing is infrared sauna and heat. These are really big for my flare-ups and for the flare-ups of a lot of other autoimmune people I know. This is why it really helps to have an infrared sauna in your house. I've done a couple other episodes on that, talked about it. I will include the link to the one that I have in the description below. Yes, they are a little bit of an investment, but they are not as atrociously expensive as people sometimes think they are. And I really love the one I have and feel like it really benefits me. But if you just can't do that, you can, find a place like Restore is a popular franchise in the United States that has them all over the place. But, just really get some good infrared sauna and heat in to get that inflammation down. The next thing is red light therapy. Came out with an episode a few weeks ago about this, but you really want to, consider going and doing some more red light therapy or, giving it a try for the first time to help reduce the flare-ups. Next thing is massage. Getting a massage is always nice and relaxing, really good for you, and I find that can really help with a lot of my autoimmune flare-ups as well. So, consider doing that if you're on a budget, which, these days we pretty much all are. But, if you just don't want to pay for a full price, you can find school probably and have a student give you one. I do this all the time, actually. In fact, I only get my massages from students and have found it works really well. Then acupuncture, consider finding a community acupuncture clinic to get a treatment that will be a lot less expensive. or, just some kind of acupuncture treatment to help you with that. And then essential oils, and more specifically, I like the doTERRA process called Aroma Touch. It's basically just a process of applying different essential oils designed to help with your immune system, with discomfort, and with helping you just relax. And I found that, applying those oils in that order to either my back, if I'm able to get somebody to help me, or doing it to the bottoms of the feet, different things like that can really, really help with my flare-ups. So let me go through that list again. Self-care, rest, evaluating my diet in the last few days, infrared sauna and heat, red light therapy, massage, acupuncture, and essential oils, and more specifically the Aroma Touch protocol. So anyhow, I will have more specific details about some of these things below that you might need. And take care. Hopefully you found this episode helpful. If you haven't already subscribed or followed the show, please do so. Also would appreciate a rating or a review over on Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this. If there's a way to rate the podcast or review it, I'd appreciate it. And as always, if you have questions or want to talk to me, feel free to reach out. Would love to have a conversation with you. Thank you.